Good evening and welcome to Just Seriously, voicing thoughts with me, Kriss Venugopal. And today we have a very special guest, an academician, the principal of AAA International School, Miss Pongal Punitha. Uh, Pongal ma'am, first of all, a warm welcome to Just Seriously. And today I'm looking forward to know more about education, oration, and about all that work you have done. You have a huge list of activities, I would say. So let me start off with one question. The current state of education in India now, are we going in the right direction?
Happy evening, everyone, and thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me here, first of all. And you've straight gone to the topic, and thank you for that question. See, I always look at things very positively. Like there are challenges. I wouldn't say it's very positive or negative, rather. But then there is a huge change in the way things are happening with the education industry as of now. So a
Hmm.
lot of youngsters coming into schools and managements and looking at it in a very different angle as it was happening from very different from what it had been happening some years ago or probably a generation ago rather.
Hmm.
Like from down the line, if you go back from after I became a teacher, like different boards came in and like education became a business, and yes, it is a business, a real profitable business. But
Hmm.
then the human engineering that we do has taken like a, way, a profound shift rather. So like in this way looking at things, and I feel there are challenges. Yes, of course, everywhere life is challenging, but I'm sure that we are moving on in the right direction.
Right. Now, when we look at the education system, you are adept in curriculum design. And when we look at the concept post COVID, homeschooling, that is one
Yeah,
way. Then you have
yeah.
a vernacular medium education, which happens, and suddenly they are exposed to all English when they come to a degree level, and there is a huge drop or fall. Then there is a normal English standard private education, and then there is the higher end international. So this rift, are we finding it in the right way, or is there a way to amalgamate all these things in the future?
Uh, Chris, as you said, like this COVID definitely had an impact, creating a real big gap in the learning gap in children. So right now, the classroom situation has a big change where earlier also we had children who could grasp quickly and children who found it a little difficult to grasp. But right now, we have a set of children who have been exposed to the education or what they are learning in a much more deeper way, where parents were with them for 3 years during COVID and handled them on a one-on-one rather than a classroom situation. So that way, now the gap is so wide and deep, where we have the first generation learners who really had a gap in the learning, and another generation of like second generation or third generation learners where they had a lot of extra learning or extended learning happening at home. That is looking at the knowledge aspect of it. But looking at the humane aspect and the human aspect of it, which is in personal, interpersonal relationship, and moving up, getting into a team, working together, collaborating, you know, that you need to work upon. That is where we find the challenge as of now. Children have, like, we see a lot of children in the shell, and we really have to work towards bringing them out of their shell. So that is one way. And as you said, even now in schools, we have moved a lot into collaborating or bringing, amalgamating everything together. And so we give them a homework, we send them an audio message, we send them a video message, we send them some, which was like far fetched 3 years ago. So amalgamation has already started, and if it is done in the right proportion, I'm sure that we can find a very different generation of learners in the days to come.
Your association with British Council has been going a long way, because you have been a trainer for IELTS, and you've been with many courses offered by British Council. Now, let's come to that library part of it. Now, there was a time in the 70s or the 80s where the Enid Blyton and the Famous Five and the Secret Seven, people had a lot of books to read, and there were a lot of virtue based books also to read. Now, English literature as such has taken a different turn, where the number of people reading books, it has changed in numbers, and the kind of reading has changed. And moreover, a visual medium which is exposed through the smartphone industry, that is taken by storm amongst kids. So, how do you see, as an academician, as an educationist, how do you see this change, and how do you feel that literature, as such, how it will be in future?
Literature, yes, it has become a little diluted rather than the earlier days. You know, it's not as seriously as we used to read whatever content. You know, reading a book as a whole has become something a little too difficult in a group of children and
Hmm.
little too easy in another group of children. So, so only thing that I feel is like the habit that has got reduced in one generation is affecting the next generation. So, in the school, if you can really bring that reading as into the forefront, into the fore, and work towards reading as a concept more than reading e-learning or reading from your the machine reading into the text, like giving them that feel, making them fall in love with the touch and feel of books is very important. And see, it can be both, right? Now with AI coming in, and how much do we how much do we depend upon AI for most of the written part as such? So I feel like, again, here also an amalgamation of both. We did not have this exposure of when I started my career as a teacher. When I had to do a question paper, I had to refer into many books to set a question paper.
Hmm.
Now I can just go Google, find out what other schools have done and how they have done. How do I adapt? More than that, copy that, put it in Chat GPT and ask, like, come on, put it, give me a question paper different from that and all this, that. You get that question paper ready-made within minutes. So it's more of a smart working. So similar when it comes to reading also. Let us make children understand the beauty of reading a book as a whole, and also understanding the gist of things also. So here you will have, again, balancing both in depth and also a few other points also as such. So like main thing is, as you said, reading in toto is waning, be it reading all, because it's
Hmm.
very shallow. It has become very shallow. That in-depth reading has really taken given a kind of a way, rather I would say. So we need to work upon a little more, especially the primary and the schools. I will not go to the colleges because habits are framed when they are at school itself. So if we can work more,
Hmm.
schools work more, working, focusing more on not only on the academic books but exposing the child to the library. See, we have a library in our school which is like
Hmm.
so enticing for children to go sit and read there. Like, the furniture, the way it is done, the seating arrangement, everything is so different and unique that we want the children to get attracted and come there to sit and read. So we can somewhere bring it, like, attract children, like have a magnet there and make them get attracted there. And that habit inculcation, yes, it is a little tough now, as of now, because they don't have the patience to read. With more of visual media coming in, they don't have the patience to read. And if they want also, they say we'll listen to the audio book. And audio book, you cannot go back, like reading word by word with your eyes and going back to the sentence. So such things don't happen when you listen to an audiobook or visual, when you watch a movie or whatever. So I feel we need to work upon uh, developing this habit of reading a whole book, literature, or in general reading, whatever be it, and then ensure that the children, like, are getting into a little of in-depth reading. We need to work upon this. We have to make a little serious efforts on this.
Yeah, from that, two of the thoughts come to my mind. One, is it far-fetched for us to think that in future, if we talk about names like George Orwell or Robert Frost or talk about Shakespeare, people will be wondering who they are because reading such kind of books or authors, even Wordsworth for that matter, poetry has taken a prosaic form. Mostly people believe that they can write the way they want, and that becomes poetry. So, do you feel that is far fetched to think that people would just forget those great writers who had given us such volumes of work? And second aspect, what you had mentioned about taking efforts. I remember Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam saying that if you gift your child 10 books every year for his birthday, by the time he reaches the age of 20, from the age of 10, I would look at both as one question about the vision in future and what can be done about it.
It was breaking. I was unable to hear you properly, Chris. One was you said gift
Can you hear me
books.
now?
Yes, I can hear you, but it's
Yeah.
a little breaking, Chris. Yes, Chris, will you
Right.
please repeat
What
that
I asked
question?
was, is it far-fetched to think that great writers?
Um,
Yeah, I think we are
yeah,
having a slight glitch.
you okay? I hear you now. I got the question. You're just
Yeah.
talking
Can
about
you
the
hear me now?
writers that yes. Yes, uh, Chris, that language. Even when I did my graduation or post graduation, that language was of say Shakespeare was really far fetched for me. But right now, coming into the next generation, how many of us really know to interpret that which the way which my teachers interpreted for me, or as you say, as I told you, like that in-depth reading or a kind of a it's becoming a little rare of late. So they are like, especially Shakespeare. When it comes to the other poems, actually, I feel like there are children or there are youngsters who are really interested into poems. So they are going to the writers and the poets. So they are getting it. But coming into dramas and literature part, uh, the play, the other fiction part, it is the language, especially the words. Since we do not have a dictionary of the usage of those words, and our elders, like we have not taken it properly from our elders, also, there is a small challenge in that. So, and as to discuss earlier also, presenting books, as I told, the habit of reading books. We do not, as mothers and fathers at home, or grandparents at home, how many of us read in front of children? We also watch the TV or listen to a song, but then how many of us? So the child can imitate you very much if you also sit silently with a book. See, used to do something called a dear time in school, which is called drop everything and read. So every week, 15 minutes in the school will be completely silent, Chris. Nobody will talk with anyone from the security till everyone for that matter. So you know what happened after some time? I used to have some articles with the parents who come during that time, because we generally don't speak. They give an article, so we inform parents also. We will not be talking to you if you come during this time. And we used to get nice articles. I'll have copies of articles ready. So when they come, the article is given to them and they sit and read. So it started happening that I had quite a few parents. The number of parents who came in started increasing in the days. So only thing is, let's be innovative in creating ways of attracting children towards books and reading. So if we can do that, I don't think it's like it's going to fade away, or we don't have to be pessimistic. The only thing is, the world is becoming so creative, and now let's match our creativity to match that aspect of creativity of children, and ensure that we are making them read also. So it's like blending of tradition with the innovation. If we can do something on that, I'm
Right.
sure that we'll be able to make children read.
Hmm. Now, that takes me to a point where your advice to parents on parenting about education, what would it be?
I would not give any advice. I have some suggestions actually. The first, the first thing will be like, so first thing, the role modeling happens at home.
Hmm.
So when, how many of our children would like to be like us? How many of us, how many parents would say, I am my daughter's or my son's role model? So, if someone out there can impact your child so much, what are we doing living with them day in and day out? So, at least in some of the little habits where, in some aspects, this is where I want to be like my dad or my mom, if we can make that in children. So, whatever you want to do, your children to do, please do it yourself. For example, I had a parent who came to me and told me that, Ma'am, my son doesn't understand my difficulties. See, I ride a broken two wheeler, whereas I've given him like a two wheeler worth a lakh when the child was in 11th standard because I didn't want him to know my difficulties. I didn't want, and now he doesn't even understand. I said, Sir, you are the one who didn't want him to understand, know your difficulties. Then how do you expect him to learn, understand your difficulties now? So here like we have a kind of a controversial idea about the way we behave and the way we want our children to behave. So whatever, however you want your children to behave, bring it in you. Start doing it, and you will see your children role modeling yourself. So simple things. Writing a leave letter, Chris. When I'll receive a leave letter telling that here we live closer to Kutralam, the waterfalls, and during a weekday the child would have taken leave and gone, a 10th standard or 12th standard child, and the letter will come telling that my child was with fever and I couldn't understand. I mean, attend the classes and all. So when I asked the child, okay, how was the water in Five Falls? The child said, Mom, it was fantastic. Out just like that. And then I said, okay, fine. Now, what happened to your fever? Ma'am, I told my dad, ma'am. My dad only told me to write this. So then I will make the child write it in the letter and I'll call the parent tomorrow and ask them, like, see, you are teaching your children to tell lies. Teach them to tell the truth and face the consequences of the truth. So here, whatever you want your children to do it unto them. So this is the base of parenting in every little thing. I used to tell them, you want your children to wear a vibhuti and come to school, or come out of the house, or take the Bible and do a little prayer before you come to, or do a namas before you come out of the house. Are you doing it? So, so every little thing, be conscious, because now children see a lot of things, they are exposed to a lot of things, they hear a lot of things. So, what example are we giving is where we'll have to think. And we see earlier it was kind of unconscious parenting, but right now it's more of conscious parenting that we'll have to be focusing upon. So, parents, we have to be more conscious about what we are speaking and what we are doing so that our children like we are happy to look at them as we grow old.
But again, when you're saying that, being a role model to the children, is it not difficult for a certain amount of people because they aspire their children to be better than them? So how do they actually look forward to it? Because if say a normal person, we hear stories about an auto
Yes,
rickshaw driver's child
yes,
becoming an IAS
yes,
officer, and
yes,
that aspiration, everybody wants their children to be better than them. So how to
yes.
catapult them towards that?
So when I say role modeling, like I'm talking about the basic qualities and the discipline in them. Aspiration, like when you make them look at you with respect, and when you are truthful to what you're doing, like you tell them the fact. See, children, you can start discussing things, financial things and the family situation aspects at a very young age. Children start aspiring themselves. I remember my daughter's correspondent telling me, Ma'am, don't give her goals because she already has a far-fetched goal for herself. So I never put anything into her. The only thing that I did with her was we used to sit and talk about what is happening in our life, what is going wrong, what is going right, what are our challenges, and what are our commitments, and all that. So I feel like a family time is something that we're missing. And when we can have a transparent family time discussing on various aspects of family, the relationships, and all, then I'm sure that that aspiration children. I see a lot of children. See, parents set goals for their children. Let's stop that and give them the exposure, whatever is possible, and ask them to explore, and you will see them going heights which you weren't aware of until they go there, and you will be like, when I see, I keep telling my people that I don't know, I hate physics and my daughter loves physics. So it doesn't mean because one daughter said my mom hates physics, so I also hate physics. Okay, my next daughter said my mom hates physics. My mom is a very strong person, and why is it that she hates physics? So I want to know what is there, and she went to explore. So you can have diverse, coming out of the same experience of mine, two different aspects the way it was
Right.
looked at. So what I would like to tell you is, you do not freeze on what you want your child to become. Give them the right kind of education, give them the right kind of exposure, give them the right kind of value system, and then you will see them aspiring great heights, which we definitely would not understand, or like we will have to just look at them with a wow. That's all. Yes, Chris.
Now, another aspect of yours, you're in the hypnotic circle, and
Yeah,
the power of hypnosis and the power of the mind, all those things
yeah.
really works. How far that can be used at a very early age for children? Because now, our post-COVID, most of the students, most of the children, they come forward and say that, no, I don't want to learn anymore. I don't want to study anymore. I can do everything with, say, ChatGPT. I can do with Google, and I don't need such kind of an education. What is the answer we should be giving them when their mind itself is getting polluted by a lot of emotional stress and the modern gadgetry, and most of them don't even have the, say, daring in their heart to face failure?
Chris, actually, with machine learning and artificial intelligence learning, we are talking about the intellect part alone, head part alone. We are not talking in the heart part. Okay, we are we are catering more to the head,
Okay.
but everything starts in the heart. So, if we can get to the heart of children, with hypnosis and hypnotherapy, we can get to the heart of children, or heart of everyone for that matter, anyone for that matter. So if we can instill the right kind of beliefs in them, tell them that nothing is far-fetched, everything is achievable, provided that you keep going the steps. Unless you want it, you fix a deadline and you want it by then, and you don't want it, then you get stressed out. Allow it, go with the flow. So mindfulness and meditation. So being mindful of the present, you be there in the present. Are you aware of what you're doing? Now that I'm talking with you, am I 100% with you, or something else going in my thoughts? So if we can be mindful of it, I would not like meditation is a serious affair, but then if we can be mindful of it, if we can teach these things. So I do it even in my staff meetings, or in my even chit chats with my teachers. I indirectly put it, I hypnotize them and I put them into kind of a belief of whatever I say. So this is where I would, I feel teachers can be trained in hypnosis indirectly. Like even we had a meeting with Anthony Jacquin last week, and I told him, Anthony, I'm doing this with my teachers also. I'm instilling a little of hypnosis into them, and making them talk to children on that. So this can really put in a lot of positivity and looking at things with optimism, Chris. So I feel that can help us a lot today in this world, which looks bleak to many. Some of them who say all whatever they want to say, but like I would say, it's more bright. It's brighter than it used to be, and it has given a lot of exposure, a lot of open an eye opener. In COVID has been an eye opener in various aspects also of life. So let us be prepared for the unimaginable, is what COVID taught us, right? So let us, but then prepared for the unimaginable,
Right.
meaning not the pessimistic aspect of it. Let's be optimistic of. So we can, through hypnosis, unknowingly, like without using the word hypnosis, people don't, like don't know the real meaning of hypnosis. And finally, it's taken that, oh, is she going to hypnotize me and do make me do whatever she wants as such? So instead of that, if we can really get into their hearts and kind of like, all in the positive side, if we can do wonders with children. So I'm really doing it. My teachers do not know it, but I do it. And I think we can work wonders with it. Chris.
Right. Now, another facet of yours, when you look at the multifaceted personality you are, you have been a Toastmaster for many years. And the kind of oration which used to exist a few years back, it has become more lighter and frivolous. And what do you think, really, what does a person get when he gets into Toastmasters? And why is it so important to be an orator, at least on a Toastmaster level?
Chris, actually working on communication skills, right? Communication has become more important in the present days, like your verbal and your non-verbal communication. So at Toastmasters, like I joined Toastmasters after 50. Now I am 55. But then definitely I learned a lot of structured oratorical skills with Toastmasters. So I would say that, as you said, it has become after like this online stuff, people have started taking everything light. No, there's no serious speech at all. So a professionalism in what you're doing and what you're speaking is what is inculcated through Toastmasters. So I would, we are really working at a Gavels Club. We'll be soon coming out of the Gavels Club in our school, and also a Toastmasters Club for our teachers. So we are working at all that. So I'm sure that when we are exposed to an international level of public speaking, which is more of communication, and where your assembly, morning assembly, when my children are there on stage, I want them to stand in a position, hold their legs straight, have their hands in position, stand with your heads up, eyes straight. So all these are little things that we can do in school, I mean, bring in children into casually into more of confident public speaking. But that is very much structured with Gavels and Toastmasters. So I would suggest that we all can join there. Like I would, because everyone who meets me, my daughters ask me, Amma, why at this age Toastmasters, and why are you recommending it to people? But I really would say, Chris, I become so uh, I've become so conscious about my ums and ers in my speeches, those filler words in my speech after I started giving my talks in Toastmasters. So the finesse of your oratorical skills can be, fine tuned or chiseled with Toastmasters also. So I am sure that that has helped me a little more with my oratorical skills on public speaking and communication, Chris. Chris, are you there? Yeah. Are you unable to hear me, Chris?
Had Yeah, I had a
Yeah.
glitch. Sorry for that. Again, now I would like to open the floor for people to ask questions to you and interact with you directly. Before that, let me also come to one main aspect of yours. You're specialized in preparing plans for teachers and plans for the timetables in schools, and you have the expertise in that. And now, what we look at is a computer-aided design. But even then, there is a lot of overriding happening. And as per Kothari Commission, when more than 40 minutes the same subject is taught, it becomes very difficult for the person to grasp. But still, in many schools, the swapping happens and similar classes go together, like two periods coming together for the same subject. Do you think it's a healthy thing to happen?
Chris, it depends on the teacher. I remember one of my professors telling me a good teacher enriches the very poor content, or a very poor teacher kills the beautiful content. So it depends upon how you deliver. See, we've gotten into so many things as like, you have multiple intelligences, and you have various types of like, the stages and levels of learning. You can have all of that, but then only thing is the worst thing that is happening is the lack of planning. Can really plan your work. I remember Swami Chinmayananda's words: if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So, here, if we can plan it properly, when you do the planning itself, 75% of your work is done. So you can do a detailed planning of the concepts actually. So as you said, if it is machine, uh, the human aspect of it, how do I understand? See, when I say, if I give it to a machine, giving some conditions to create a timetable, and I say the core subjects to be given importance, it will have all the core subjects at one stretch, and my child is drained out. So if we can mix and match like and the subjects, so that the child goes like, you have a heavy subject, you have a lighter subject, or you have so even if the same teacher goes in for a couple of periods or 3 periods, whatever it is, only thing is the teacher should be prepared to deliver the content in a way that she caters to different your skills or different senses, then definitely it's not going to be boring. The only thing is like if you are going to uh, work with the chalk and talk method, a lecture method, and you go with a droning bee. I had a professor, like I used to say, like she used to go like, oh, go on the same tone, and we never used to listen to her, and we used to bunk her classes so badly. But one day when we just wanted to listen to her, and we were shocked at her profound knowledge. She taught Shakespeare for us. And so, it's only thing is like the way you talk to children. Like whenever anybody talks, I keep telling, being a teacher, I want the intonation, I want the highs and lows in your voice. And so if we can really work with our voice, and also the resources, the variety of resources that we have as of now, you can any video, like any class. Chris, I was handling business English certificate for a group of college students. We had 3 trainers, and I was one among the trainers. It was my project, and like my children will go to all of us will sit to the same PPT only, but my participants will go back and tell them, she showed us that video or this video. See, it's language, and I bring in some values, some activity inside, but they don't know that. So it was so dull and drab for the other classes. And finally, there was a big rumor like, she's doing well and others are not doing well, kind of. So the only thing is, like, let us become resourceful of handling a longer class or a number of hours together, and then ensure that we work towards the children. So if you have 2 periods at a stretch, how well are you prepared to cater to the multiple intelligences of children? It's not that a child is like, one has one intelligence or two intelligence. All the 8 intelligences are there in varied proportions. So you differentiate it, you create it properly, then you can have a lovely class, and in a beautiful, resourceful, and a a productive class. So time
Right,
is not an issue at all.
right, right. Now we have Soumya Santosh, academic head for PKD School in Polachi. And yes, Soumya, the stage is all yours.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to meet Punitha. Great,
Hi,
welcome. So,
thank you.
I just have a little bit of confusion here. Like, there are a lot of boards, education boards in India, right? So, actually, how a child should choose the right board for, like, we, uh, I'm actually heading a metric school. So, there are
Okay,
ICSE, CBSE, like IB, IGCSE.
okay.
So it's a variety. So how a child can choose the right one for himself or herself?
The child or the
Par-
parent?
Parents, yeah, yeah, of
That's
course,
very
it's it's for the
nice.
parents.
See, see, it is. I would say that like, here, if you look into the boards as such, like it is. I would say CBSE was difficult earlier. But now with the internals and all coming up, with the board exam, 13 mark is what you have to get in the pen and paper, and 20 marks you give as internals, and the child can get through. Whereas matriculation, the child has to get 35. Okay, so it's like it's not that much alone, ma'am. Like actually, what I feel is, depending on the child, like the child is it's like irrespective of the boards, if we can give the concepts, because if you go into the samachir curriculum and the cbse curriculum, they are not far, like that's not a big gap, but the way the exams are conducted, there's a big gap. So if we teachers can understand the curriculum and the knowledge that is expected out of the curriculum and go work towards the depth of the concepts, I'm sure that we will be able to do more irrespective of the boards. See, there are children in the IGCSE board, and how many of our teachers are equipped to teach an IGCSE class? How much do we know? How much are we upgrading and updating ourselves into teach an IGCSE board? Even CBSE boards, we are finding it difficult because CBSE is new to us. In Tamil Nadu, if you take it, it's new to us. It's been, we have been more of matriculation and the state boards. And all of a sudden, Samachi came up, so matriculation became matriculation. The government schools became the same curriculum. So then the private schools had to show a difference. They moved on to the CBSE board. But how much are our teachers equipped to frame a question or prepare the children for that concept? If you look into JEE or NEET, if you have taught the concepts thoroughly, they do not need another coaching at all, except for a few exam oriented preparation towards the end. But then why do we allow these training centers to flourish? So the only thing that I would say, irrespective of the boards, I will not be bothered about the boards at all. Let the teachers take that responsibility of giving the depth of the concepts whichever we are teaching, and then the board will not matter, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Pongal Punitha, ma'am.
Uh,
Pleasure is mine.
Thank you very much, Soumya. And let me move with that question itself, like equipping teachers. Now, first of all, the number of, say, men and women who come passionately saying that I want to be a teacher is becoming so less. I didn't get a job in a bank. I didn't get a job in an MNC. I didn't get in the IT industry. Or this is what I can manage with what I have. And so I want to become a teacher. That's the attitude which many have. So, how do we instill that passion in their hearts that, yes, I want to teach and I want to be a teacher?
Chris, here many a time the reason for not being want to become a teacher is the package, right? It is not
True.
remunerative as it is. So now we have reached so much of a materialistic attitude into children that the pleasure. See, nothing can give me that. Yesterday, I had a call from one of my old student telling
Hmm.
that I'm getting into a job next week, so I just wanted to keep you informed.
Hmm.
And I said, like, I'm so happy that you remember me. And it's been years. It's been some 6, 8 years since he graduated, went out from my hands. But then today he's giving me a call. Then he says, Ma'am, you are the one. Everyone was refusing to give me computer science group, but you trusted me. You told me I trust you, and you gave me. And today this engineering degree is only because of you, ma'am.
Hmm.
So this satisfaction, if you can relish on this satisfaction, nothing can be equated this to this happiness that some child as life has become meaningful because of some support we extended to the child. So that aspect is completely overwritten rather. Nobody looks into that at all because there is a lot of human connect that is missing in schools as such. So working in a private management school, I feel that there are a lot of private managements who are more focused on only the money part of it. Today, my
Hmm.
correspondent had asked me to refund the money to a child, okay, who wanted to leave the school. See,
Hmm.
had they asked me to suggest an amount, I would have given one third of what he has suggested. Okay, he says no.
Okay.
They want to leave, ma'am. Let them leave happily.
Right.
So, but I can go to another management also where like I will tell them like, okay, I'll collect 15,000 rupees. Give me 10,000 rupees for the expenses of the child. Take 55,000 rupees. They will give me 3,000, 4,000, and ask me to manage the entire stuff within that. We would have collected 15,000 rupees, billed 15,000. So more of this aspect is what the teachers are not being paid properly, and they are paid so minimally. And like so, see again, like it's not just because I'm here. I'm telling you again. When I had a discussion for the first time with the correspondent, he very casually told me, "Amma, we are not paying so much, so let us not get into loss of pay for this thing or the small things and all." For some discipline, you have kind of some loss of pay. If you don't come on time for 3 days, the fourth day you lose half a day's salary. So when you don't do it this time, this month I have a lot of latecomers because last month the salary was not, it was not reduced. So certain things are there because like more of materialistic aspect, the passion, as you said, you do not have inspiring teachers. You teach,
Right.
we are not inspiring them to become a teacher also. Many of us who have become teachers, see, I chose teaching just for my bread. But then I started loving it. When I completed my MPhil, my one of my parent who was the head of the department of university, he told me that come, there is a vacancy, I can take you in. But I said no, I will not give this love. Then I'm not coming, and I have no regrets for it till date. So when you look at it with love, like what, though you are taking it out of compulsion or no other choice, once you've come in here, if you can start loving that, if you can then choose a job that you love, and you don't have to work a day in your life.
That's
Love
true.
the job that you've got, and then you will not have a work to do all your life. So if we can make that, the only thing is inspiration is missing amongst teachers, whether they want to become a teacher or after they become teachers, Chris. So if we can keep the teachers inspired, if we can keep the teachers like loving to come to school, if they like give them the work, get them. I used to tell my teachers, I'll squeeze you with work, but then I'll squeeze you with a smile so that you don't feel the pain of it. So, so if we can really have a good rapport, good atmosphere with teachers, ensure that they're happy. As we want the children to happy, first the teachers will have to be happy. So
Right.
if that can happen and that attitude can grow in private management schools, because we have a lot of private management schools, and the government schools, what is happening. So they
Right.
are paid, but then the work and the infra that they're given, the resources that they're given is very bare minimal. So that way, if we can, the change, shift in attitude comes in private management schools and in the teachers. Once you've taken it, go into it. I keep telling them like even only God can pay for you. So just keep working. You're working for children, for lives. So just give the good work. God knows to give you. So let's go with that trust. So if we can inspire this thought in teachers, I'm sure the days to come we'll have better teachers, or after they come, they'll become better teachers.
Right. On. Can you hear me?
Yes, Chris, I can.
Yeah. Can you hear
I
me?
can hear. Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Leads me to a question. But yeah, I in between, I would like to thank Reena, Sonia, Bhuvana, Prem, the actress, my mother Bhagyalakshmi, Kabir, Inia, Jiva, Fanaki, Durga, Semi, Ani, Izrat, Kanimuri, uh, Niradini, and all those who have joined us. And that question which comes to my mind is that an actor's son aspires to be an actor, an advocate's son aspires to be an advocate, or maybe a daughter aspires to be an actress or an advocate. A doctor's son naturally wants to become a doctor. But the number of teachers telling their children, you find some good job, is increasing. They wouldn't say that you become a teacher. Why is it like that?
Even after they become teachers, like I think they've not started to love their work. See, my daughter did engineering out of compulsion, and she's an engineer turned
Right,
teacher
right.
today.
So the same
Okay.
answer which happened earlier.
Yes. So I would say that it's only because
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
that
I think your
I
daughter
do
is
not
also there
love.
with you.
I don't hear you. I don't hear you, Krish. You told me something. So, why are teachers not wanting their
Now,
children to? Why are teachers not wanting their children to become teachers? Probably because they didn't love their job and they were doing it just for whatever they wanted. And so, once you become inspired teachers, I'm sure that the next generation will definitely become teachers. Because I have a few teachers who belong to the teachers' family working with us now in AAA. So I'm sure that that is also changing probably, and we will have better teachers. I'm very optimistic about that. Also, I'm sure that in the days to come, when they see the love that they receive from the students for ages, like today I have a child like whose child is studying in my school kind. So like that, when you have, and the love and the respect that you get from them is totally different. So only thing is the parents, if I can inspire my daughter or my son to become a teacher, then nothing like it. But then it doesn't mean that they have to stay where my daughter keeps telling me, Amma, I'm in charge of 150 teachers and you are in charge of 35 teachers. Okay. So it's like, let's look at them, and I'm also happy for her. So so there is possibility of growth here also. There is possibility of financial abundance here also. So since they don't explore that,
right,
they feel there
right,
is you don't have a scope for earning more, and that is the reason, and which is not the fact. And I also would like to
right,
thank
right.
everyone who's
Let me also welcome Punitha, Dr. Santosh.
I don't hear you, Krish.
Yes, Punitha, ma'am.
Yes, I don't
Yeah,
hear
can you hear
you.
me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
How about now?
I hear you now.
Yeah,
Yes,
I would
yes.
like to add on the words of gratitude to Dr. Santosh. Dr. Santosh, Pandishwari, MJ Danapan, and Poonam. Thank you very much for joining. And if you want to interact with Pongal Punitha ma'am, all you have to do is raise your virtual hand. You will find it in the reactions, and I will bring you upstage, and you can interact with Punitha ma'am. Ma'am,
Krishna,
let me
actually,
go to the.
Kabir. Kabir has raised hand.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much, Sonia. Let me just add on.
Then Santosh.
Yeah, I'm having a small glitch, but yes, I can bring Kabir upstage. Kabir, he's a mentor, and he builds startups from a very small level to grow in their business endeavors, and that's what Kabir is doing. And he also is the person who really makes every week just seriously happen. We have Kabir raising hands, we have Dr. Santosh raised hands. I'm trying to bring them on. For that short while, let me just quit the application and come back because I'm facing a glitch. Just a second, I'll be back with you.
Yes, Dr. Chris.
Vanita ma'am, in between, I'll
Yes,
just ask a question. Like, how long
yes.
have you been in this teaching?
For 3 decades,
Okay. You started your career as a teacher or?
I started my career as a spoken English teacher, then I became a primary teacher, then I became a PG assistant, and then I became a principal, and now I'm here. This is my 23rd year of principalship.
Oh, great. Claps for you.
Thank you, thank you. Chris, are you there? And thank you, my dear teachers, for joining. Thank you, Durga.
Yeah, I think he's not able to bring
No,
the listeners
actually,
up.
But he has to only do it actually. Only Chris can do
Yes,
it. Yes, Chris is
yes.
back. Yes,
Okay,
Chris.
I'm back, and minor glitches. Yes, we have to face it and move forward. Dr.
Yes.
Santosh and Kabir, I request you to raise your virtual hand so that I can bring you up stage and you can interact with Pongal ma'am. In the meanwhile,
Yes.
let me just get an idea about what a person's, say, a study time, like you've been an academician for a very pretty long time. How much time should a person dedicate for learning after school? Because now we hear about taking tuitions, say from evening as soon as the school is over, the kids are rushed to tuition centers and they come back late at 10 o'clock and maybe after that come and study. This is what is happening. So how much time should they be actually putting in after school for studies?
Chris, to this question, actually, like here, we will have to accept the grasping power of our own children first. We'll have to accept reality. So, some
Hmm.
of our children might take it very fast, and some of our children might take it a little extra time. So, the
Hmm.
only thing is that they might need it extra. So, that acceptance is first thing, that is what recommend. And then choose a good school where teachers take a lot of responsibility and ensure that each child, like focus on every child. So, and the third thing is, like if you can give, like I would, even today I was talking to my teachers telling that they have to give the space, like a space for every work. Like, see, I don't work from a bedroom. We get into the office, like a space where I would like to sit and work. So, like, if you can give that space and ensure that the child is having a right kind of environment at home, even a first generation learner will not require any tuitions given a
Right.
right kind of school. So what I would suggest is the number of hours again depends on the child. Like some children, like, see, I remember when I was a child, I used to finish my. We had a tuition master at home, so when we came from school, my tuition master will be waiting at home, and I will take 10-15 minutes for me to finish that day's portion and come off. I had a cousin who was with me. We used to take 2 hours to finish the same.
Hmm.
So it depends on the child, but the only thing right now is you cannot, when you pressurize the child becomes rebellious. I
Hmm.
just wanted, like, I don't know whether Sindhu Nachar is here. Sindhu Nachar, a student, she's told me that she's going to join. So, like, she was a student. I always mention her name as a rebellious student. When the parents had gave her so much of pressure, she rebelled, telling that I'll get a zero, mom. I'll get a zero and put them into shame, right?
Hmm.
So children are becoming rebellious like that. So we have to handle them like a potter handling the clay, the wet clay. The both hands, if the both hands are not in the right kind of position, like the right kind of pressure and the right kind of softness, it goes off. The pot doesn't come out. So you have to give love, and you have to also be a little kind of strict with the children. If you can balance it properly, you will be able to find out how much time your child needs to be sitting with the books. And also another thing is, like, all of us are not morning early birds. Okay,
Hmm.
so some of us can become night owls also. So
Okay.
depending on the the circadian rhythm of the child, let us allow the child to sit and work by itself. So
Hmm.
do not pressurize your working model onto the child. Understand the child and just be with the child. Do not
Right.
disturb, do not trust things, do not disturb. Encourage them. Even if they see, I used to tell them, like, when they move from fifth to sixth standard, there will be a dip generally, almost
Hmm.
in all the children. A child who's been scoring 90 plus will come to 75, 80, most of the children, because kind of a huge gap between fifth and sixth as such. So I will tell parents, like, the child has come down. Like, now tell the child, like, come on, yes, we understand there's a shift, and so you will find this difficulty. We are with you. Come on, come up. So if you can stand with the child and keep encouraging them, because I feel that this thrust or this pressure or this stress have come only after we called ourselves, so many of us called ourselves as engineers or educated. We have
Hmm.
practically been educated, but we are little knowledge is dangerous, right? So most of us are half-baked fakirs that we stress out our children so much.
Right.
So
Right.
let's not go for a rigid frame of this many hours of this and this. No, let's see, I had a student who's like what is it called? An instrumental. He is a okay, so flute player. Okay, so he
Okay.
used, and I remember his mother, who was a chemistry teacher, telling me that, "Mom, tomorrow is chemistry exam. Yesterday he sat with the flute for 6 hours. I was just waiting for him to finish and come out of it." Now, today he is in the US running his own orchestra and also working. So, when he took
Nice.
the job, he told me that, "Mom, this is for my parents and this is for my passion. This is they gave me for my passion." So,
Right.
when I love that freedom, though there was an exam, the mother did not stop the child, allowed
Right.
the,
Right.
and then he said, "Come on, you have to do this." So, then he sat and did it extra hours. So, only
Nice.
be with your child, tell them that you're there for them, high or low, you're there for them. You will see them reaching all highs.
Right.
But then there will be a dip. That's except they can stand shoulders with them.
Right. Right. We have Kabir, a seasoned entrepreneur. Kabir, the stage is all yours.
Hi, Pongal ma'am. Just a
Hi,
small
Kapil.
question. Since you were telling about teachers can concentrate on students, but the ratio of student to teacher, how does that affect? Will a teacher be able to focus on students? And
A beautiful question, Kabir, because yes, actually, 40 is to 1 is the ratio which CBSE is given, which is really difficult to focus upon, especially in a primary class. So, in a primary class, I would suggest that 25 to 30, the teacher, until grade 2, let's have 20, or the teacher will be able to focus, like we have a main teacher and a helping teacher. Okay, so if that can be done, all the more good. But then working 40s to 1 is really challenging, Kabir, and my number is like grade 6 and above, we'll be able to handle 30, because the class control and children will be able to understand our instructions. We'll be able to go around, like if the teacher is effective. But more than that, it's a little challenging, because I've had schools in Tirunelveli which had around 100 children in a class, and the teacher used to use a mic. The teacher will not even know the names of the children. So how can you do that? So definitely, the class strength has an impact on the learning ability or the learning development of children.
Right. Thank you very much, Kabir. And now we have Kanimuri Srinivasan. Yes, the stage is all yours.
Hi, Kanimali. We've been
Hi,
colleagues.
ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am.
Yes, Kanimali.
Hi, ma'am. I am a former teacher, now a writer, and I have a question about writers. I wish to know what's the writer's role in preserving culture and literature in their writing, because modern poetry is, I think, killing the essence and aesthetics of literature. So I want to know about that.
See, again, it's so personalized. What I write is what I love. And see, yes, I do accept that there is a little, as Chris rightly mentioned, it's become so frivolous, or, very, very superficial. And in-depth understanding, or in-depth learning, or in-depth knowledge of the structure of things, yes, it's not there in most cases. Accept it. But then, when you feel you have a duty to do this, take it up, but do not expect that from others. So let's not generalize as the role of a writer. You decide what is going to be your role as a writer. You feel that you would like to do all that, go ahead. If I feel differently, don't pass your judgments onto me. Leave people like that, is what I would like to give as my answer, Kanimari.
Right. Thank you very much, Kanimuri. And before we, yes, we have Kabir again. Yes, Kabir.
Dr.
Yes, Kabir.
no, sorry, there was a glitch. I dropped. I heard it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
Answer.
Yeah. Pongal ma'am, you have been a podcaster, and Positive Pearls of Pongal has been going on air for a pretty long time. We would like to know about the Positive Pearls of Pongal, as well as your parting notes, because time is the only thing which no man has been able to stop.
uh, yes, the podcasting, it was like kind of I write. I've been writing for the past 9 years on a daily positive message. I initially started with forwarding a positive message from another friend. And later, that a write-up used to have a little of grammatical errors or sentence. So being a language teacher, I couldn't forward it, so I had to sit and correct. And another friend suggested that give my name in that. So I didn't want to send somebody else's name with write up with my name, so I started writing. This is how my morning messages started. So when I started that morning message, some of my students and my teachers told me that, "Ma'am, we would like to hear it in your voice." That is when I started podcasting. But like somewhere, like the technical glitches that I had, that I've paused it for a while right now. But then I really would like to talk. I mean, I'm just that is there in my bucket list next, which I have to start once again. I love doing that because, uh, Chris, many a time my own podcasts or my own writings have been my answers for my questions,
Right.
the answers from the universe for my questions rather. So that day when I talk about something, my daughters will tell me, "Amma, go back to today to your writing and read. You got your answer there." So this is how it has been. So more than writing for others, most of my writings are my writings for my own work or my own questions inside me, and most of it are my own experiences. So be it my podcast or being with my morning pearls, it's all for me from myself. And if people are enjoying, I'm happy about it, and I really thank them for it.
Right. Your parting notes, please.
First of all, loads of gratitude to you, Chris, for having me here, Kabir
My
and
pleasure.
Semi for all that introductory work that you did. And Durga, thank you for being here the whole session, and everyone for joining here. And only thing is, like, let me just go with the flow. Let us go with the flow without having conditions. Let us just see people as unique people without judgments. Give our best in every little thing that you do, and believe that we are born to win, and only good things, nothing but good things will happen to us. With that trust, move on. You will have the best of life. Wish you all the best. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much, Pongal ma'am, and thank you everyone for joining us. Just Seriously Voicing Thoughts with me, Kriss Venugopal, happens every Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. India time and 8 p.m. UAE time. Next week, we'll be there with another speaker, and Pongal ma'am, we look forward to talking to you again because your vast experience has been only a tip of the iceberg has been touched during this past 1 hour. Looking forward to hearing from you again, and thank you and good night to everyone.
Thank you, Chris. Until my pleasure to join you once again. Thank you.
Pleasure.